Well, Pakistan's prime minister has once again condemned the attacks carried out by American drones in his country, saying they are illegal and counterproductive. Yousuf Raza Gilani announced a trust deficit between Islamabad and Washington over the drone attacks. Speaking in Davos, Switzerland, Gilani said such attacks bolster militants and complicate military and political leadership in Pakistan's tribal areas. On Friday, tens of thousands of people gathered in Karachi to condemn Washington's policies and the deadly drone strikes that have claimed many civilian lives. Tensions between Washington and Islamabad have been on the rise over a U.S. attack on Pakistani soil that left 24 Pakistani soldiers dead back in November. Now, the attack prompted Islamabad to shut down a U.S. base. Well, let's switch over to Islamabad. I'd like to welcome from the strategic affairs analyst, Mr. Syed Tariq Pirzada. Thank you so much for being with us. In your perspective, why has the U.S. resumed the drone attacks on Pakistan?
Well, they believe that they can still pressure Islamabad into doing things, but they have been doing in the last 10 years. Now that the NATO supplies have been cut off for the last 2 months, and this cutoff has entered into the third month, they are finding ways to pressure Islamabad. They know that the first thing that will be on the table if the negotiations ever get resumed between Islamabad and Washington, then that will be the issue of the drones, because I think the Prime Minister of Pakistan was using pretty mild language. It is not just illegal to attack Pakistan with the U.S. drone attacks. It is the dismantlement of the sovereignty of Pakistan. This is how the people of Pakistan look in Islamabad. So it is a pressure tactics, but Pakistan is standing firm. You know, as I said, this cutoff of the NATO supplies is entering its third month, and the message is going to Washington. I think the times have changed.
Well, you're saying, Mr. Pirzada, that the times have changed, but of course the drone attacks continue. What, in your perspective, does Islamabad have to do to actually get Washington to stop attacking its sovereign territory?
Well, to tell you the truth, here are the 2-3 things that Islamabad still has to do. The cutting off NATO supplies is not enough. They have to simply send a strong signal to Washington that if you don't stop NATO's, these strikes against Pakistan, we'll have to scale down our diplomatic relations with you, our trade relations with you, our military strategy over Afghanistan, our future cooperation on Afghanistan. And you know one thing, no matter what Washington does, one thing is clear: the road to resolution of crisis in Afghanistan passes through Pakistan, and that is the only route that Washington still needs for all logistical purposes, for diplomatic purposes, for political purposes, and for the face-saving device that they need to exit Afghanistan. So there are not a lot of other things that Islamabad can do, but it is a question of when do they decide to do, because obviously we are talking about political and military leaderships in Pakistan that have never taken strong stance against Washington in the past. But this is the time. The people's anger is driving this policy, and they know they have to respect people's people's call on that issue.
Okay. Syed Tariq Pirzada, strategic affairs analyst. Thank you for being with us. The story, of course, we'll be keeping our eyes on right here at Press TV.